I'm Professor Hans Hendrischke. I'm a professor of Chinese business and management at the University of Sydney Business School. I've seen old villages in China since the 1970s, but I want to tell you a story about a new village in China which I came across during my last visit, which was in 2018. That was a trip to China I took with the University of International Business and Economics in Beijing, and they had invited me together with a German delegation to visit Pujiang County in Chengdu. They have a new training facilities, which is one of the most advanced training facilities for new industrial production, Industry 4.0, or the Made in China 2025. And that was situated in a rural area not far from a village where we went to, in the countryside. It was a new building they had, and the building was full of industrial robots which were used to train people in programming those robots. That's a very rare qualification. There's not enough people in China who can do that. There's not enough people anywhere really. The training center was set up as part of a larger corporation in that region in Pujiang with German industries, with other industries, and the purpose was in the end to have an industrial zone that would enable Chengdu and the region around to engage in world-class production of new technologies. And from that training facilities that will train people who can work across the world really, we went to one of the villages there, which struck me again because it was somehow a very modern, very smart village. The first thing that struck me when we arrived in this Mingyue village was the absolute cleanliness, the way in which the village looked ordered, from the village square to the houses around. And the villagers were proud of it. They showed us first of all a building in the middle of the square with electronic access, so high-tech, and they used that to separate their garbage. They were able to keep a perfectly clean and clear and hygienic environment for the village, which is one of the problems that villages often had. And more than that, they used that facility of separating garbage, composting, to build up organic agriculture. They showed us how they had done that. They had taken care of their soil. They had put footpaths between the fields, raised footpaths, wooden platforms where you could walk. They had also then expanded this care of their environment to the surrounding regions. So they had tea plantations. They are situated on the old Chama Dao, on the tea road. They had bamboo. All of this looks like a perfectly well-kept, well-ordered landscape. That was striking. What the village had done was to start expanding and start attracting tourists, because on the base of being clean, of being approachable, there was interest from people in the urban areas or in Chengdu and other parts of China to travel there and see what they were doing. This had in turn led to the revival of some old tradition of pottery. They had a kiln that dated back to the Tang dynasty. They revived that, and they were producing handicraft. The most striking example of what a modern village could be was when they had organized a dinner for the delegation in the rice fields, because they had these platforms where people could sit. The biggest surprise was that they had huge amounts of cold German beer, because I was with this German delegation. And I asked them, how on earth can you get cold, fresh German beer in a village in Chengdu in the middle of the countryside? And they laughed at me and said, look, that was the easiest thing in the world. We simply called the courier service. We ordered it on our mobile and it came a few hours later. There was nothing we had to do. And I thought that was a striking example of how integrated a modern village and modern agriculture could be, and ideally should be. That you're not cut off from urban pleasures, urban surroundings by long distance, by lack of roads, by lack of infrastructure. That is really striking as an example of where, in the end, agriculture could go if you have a smart developing happening. 给农村的人看到他们和当代实际关系很密切，现在的年轻人就创造很多新的机会，他们留在农村就收入会高的，他们也不是落后的，他们是现代的人，建立现代的时期，他们有办法参加工业的发展，那种新的建设。所以这样的一个地方，像浦江县，我觉得从各种方面就建立一个有前途的、比较富裕的这样的地方，那是一个真正一个新时代、新乡村的表现。